Yeah, good morning. It's gonna be what the? You don't know research? I know research, dude. I definitely know research. I got you. What's the next comment? Let's do the research. I will show you. Why did Donald Trump won? Well, I have a better one for the research. Why did Kamala Harris lost? Some would say that Kamala Harris is a strong candidate. But out here in the Philippines, some of my pupils are asking me, what happened? Let's talk about it.
Trump, baby, all day we won.
I'm a nobody here in the Philippines. I'm a nobody, but I know she should have stayed away from the list. I mean, this list.
Feels good in here. The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party.
$10 million for Beyonce to step up and back Kamala Harris publicly.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night.
Like, this is gonna be terrible for America, blah, blah, shedding tears and shit.
Yeah.
But check this out. I looked at the comments of the video. Everybody in the comments is saying, yo, he's probably crying because he knows he's gonna go to jail now.
Mm-hmm. And why?
Because theory, or not even theory, but what people are saying is they're gonna release like the whole Epstein list and pretty much crack down on everybody that was meant to be in trouble.
Yep.
Because we still haven't got the names of everyone that was there that should be charged with trafficking and, you know, all of those terrible crimes.
She should have stayed away from the list. So number one is did this list. That's the part where she failed. Number two is mainstream media. I think everybody in the world knows that it's rigged. They are all saying the same thing.
Shows the local news people all saying like the exact same thing. It's really weird.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are concerned about trouble between the responsible one-sided news stories plaguing our country. Plaguing our country. More alarming, some media outlets are true without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members get
This is fucking scary.
Yeah.
This is the scariest.
Well, that's propaganda. I mean, this is they're trying to bend a narrative in a very specific way for everybody.
Mainstream media is dying, and the ones replacing it is YouTubers, podcasts.
You bet the mainstream media is dead. We all knew it. They just didn't realize until they woke up one day and saw the fact that, like, despite billions, maybe even trillions of dollars in airtime trying to take down Trump, it didn't work. If half the country has decided that Trump is qualified to be president, that means they're not reading any of this media. And we've lost this audience completely. A Trump victory means mainstream media is dead in its current form.
While on the other hand, Aaron Trump suggested that his father, Donald, he needs to go on podcasts.
Turns out Barron is the mastermind behind Donald Trump's secret weapon. Your advisor said every single recommendation that he has made has turned into absolute ratings gold that has broken the internet. Even Trump admitted on Joe Rogan's podcast that he's never heard of some of the people he's made content with, like Aiden Ross. But he listened to Barron anyway, and they all did huge numbers. I mean,
his appearance on this show you're seeing now, this past weekend with Theo Vaughn, that generated 14 million views on just YouTube alone. And then there's this one on the show Flagrant, 5 million views just there, and that's not counting the other podcast apps or, of course, the clips that get cut up of these appearances and go on TikTok.
Probably back in the days, you can say almost the same thing. But nowadays, if you're going to say the same thing and everybody around you owns a phone nowadays, so you sound like a robot. So saying the same speech over and over, for me, made a dead end or something like somebody's controlling her.
Should never again stand. And are we ready to fight for it?
Wait.
And when we fight, we win.
Does not have to abandon their faith. One does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government shouldn't be telling her what to do. Or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do. what I call an opportunity economy, so that every American has an opportunity to own a home, to build wealth, and to start a business. So every American has the opportunity to own a home, to build wealth, to start a small business.
Shoutout nga pala Kit TV, Prax Domdom, Miles Away, at saka sa Brad natin sa Alpha Sigma P. Shoutout sa iyo, more power. See, I told you, I'm good at research, and allow me to add in a very beautiful story. Just a little mix.
20 years ago, Kamala Harris slandered Michael Jackson, and now Donald Trump has finally avenged him. Few people know that Trump and Michael were once best friends. In 1993, Michael was accused of inappropriate relations with children, and the media began attacking him relentlessly. At a crucial moment, Trump took Michael into his home for 9 months and chased away all the media that showed up. From that point on, they formed a deep friendship. Unexpectedly, in 2003, Michael was slandered again. This time, the media actually made a fake documentary to slander him, and Harris, who was the California Attorney General at the time, openly slandered Michael in a media interview.
Deputy city attorney in San Francisco. And here's what she had to say.
In general, the child will be able to recall and recollect with some detail the incident, and that is persuasive to a jury, even if it is the only testimony that is available.
Claiming that even without evidence, children don't lie.
The first person who ever made an allegation was drugged into the allegation by his own father. I'm talking about that crazy, and that his father eventually killed himself. It's nuts. It's nuts. Anyways, at the time that all of these accusations were coming up, it was very much the media versus Michael Jackson.
Trump investigated and found that the mothers of these children were fraudsters who used this method to obtain money.
Donald Trump said at the time, then just a real estate magnate. Take a listen.
Michael's been a long-time resident of Trump Tower, and last night the Donald strongly reiterated his defense of Jackson with Larry King by going after the accuser's mother.
She's had plenty of experience at going after people, and she goes after them viciously and violently, and I saw a story and I read another story about some of the things she's done, and I don't believe it.
But you know what it's like when an indictment comes down.
It's tough.
It's presumption.
It's tough. It's tough to win, but I have a feeling he's going to win, Larry. The interesting thing is I've known Michael from many different standpoints, and Michael would spend a lot of time with my kids. I have beautiful kids, and at the time, like at Mar-a-Lago, and even in Trump Tower, the kids were very young. Michael would come, play with the kids. He just loved children. He was not a child molester, and I am certain of that. He loved children. He'd play with my son Eric and my son Donald, and he'd just play with them forever. He loved children, but he was not a child molester. And, you know, that whole final saga of Neverland and the police and what they did was, I think, a very, very bad part of Michael's life.
Although Trump had been helping Michael fight back, his efforts alone were not enough to challenge the media. It wasn't until after Michael's death that he was proven to be innocent.
Ooh, betting against Michael Jackson, who was eventually acquitted of all charges.
From then on, Trump held a grudge against Harris. The death of his close friend became Trump's motivation, but he never used his relationship with Michael to gain votes. Now, he has finally defeated Harris and avenged his friend for the grudge from 20 years ago.
I always do my research. Okay? So, bye-bye.